Okay, so here's what we're doing today. We're going to do two types of problems. They're all going to involve coordinate proofs. So the first type of problem is going to say, prove that this figure is this. So in this case, the first one says, prove that quadrilateral ABCD is a rectangle. Can you put everything else away? So if you have an iPad out or a phone out or anything like that, put it away. Okay, so prove that the figure is a rectangle. So first thing that I want to do is I want to graph this. So right now, do that. Okay, so do you think that I can say ABCD is a rectangle because it looks like a rectangle?
No.
No, of course not. So we learned that rectangles are parallelograms. So the first thing that you have to prove is that this is a parallelogram. Okay, we have 6 different methods to prove that this is a parallelogram. What would you guys like to do? Slope? Okay, so I'm going to do the slopes of the opposite sides. So I'm going to do the slope of AD and the slope of BC. Okay, so for AD, I have 1 minus 3 over 1 minus 0, so negative 2 over 1. For BC, I get 3 minus 5 over 5 minus 4, so negative 2 over 1. Okay, is this enough to prove that we have a parallelogram?
No.
No. This is only one pair of parallel sides. We need 2 pairs. Okay, so then I have to do the other pair of sides. So I'm going to do AB. I'm going to do CD. Moni, can you close the door, please, when you go out? Thank you. So AB. I have 1 minus 3 over 1 minus 5. So negative 2 over negative 4, which is 1/2. And then for CD, I have 5 minus 3 over 4 minus 0, so 2 over 4, which again is 1/2. Okay, so I have proven that this is a parallelogram. I'm going to mark on the figure what we just showed. So we showed that this side is parallel to this one, that side is parallel to this one. Now I need to prove that this is a rectangle. So looking at your tree, what is one additional property that a rectangle has, but not every parallelogram does? It has 4 right angles. Okay, is there a way to prove that we have 4 right angles? What's another way to say that you have right angles? Perpendicular. Okay, is there a way to show that lines are perpendicular? Slopes are opposite reciprocals. Do we have that? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to say slopes are opposite reciprocals. Which tells us that we have perpendicular sides. Okay, so have we proven that this is a rectangle?
Yes.
Yeah, so like the last section, section 3, you have to write me a sentence to say that. So we're going to say ABCD is a rectangle because opposite sides are parallel. Okay, so in parentheses, I'm going to put that shows us that we have a parallelogram. And there are 4 right angles, or the sides are perpendicular, something like that. Not too bad? That shouldn't be too bad. Questions on this one before we move on?
What if you just like put one of those? Like if you put like the opposite side of the
You have to show both. Okay, can I erase? Yeah? Okay, so example number 2, prove that MNFJ is a rhombus. Okay, so right now graph that, please. Okay, so first thing that we have to do is we have to show that this is a parallelogram. Okay, I don't want to do slopes again because we've already done that, so what's another way that I can show that this is a parallelogram?
You can like count the approximate minus.
You can do the distance formula. For a reason I'm not going to tell you, I don't want to do that one either. So,
That's not
what?
That's not it.
Oh, what do you mean?
I meant like, I don't know, like
That's finding the length.
well, yeah, like the new sides.
Right, so that would be showing congruency. I don't want to do that one. But yes, you are completely right. You can do it that way. I just don't want to do it that way. Midpoint. Yeah. Do you remember that the diagonals bisect each other? So that involves finding the midpoint. Okay, so we're going to find the midpoint of the first diagonal, which is MF. Hi. Okay, so we're going to find the midpoint. Did I say MF first? Yeah? Okay, so let's find the midpoint of MF. So remember that's going to involve adding the x's. So I have -1 add 8 over 2. And I have 3 add 6 over 2. So -1 add 8 is going to be 7 over 2. 3 add 6 is going to be 9 over 2. Okay, is this enough to show that we have a parallelogram? No, what else do we have to do? Find the midpoint of NJ. Okay, if this is a parallelogram, what do we expect? They should be the same. So NF is going to, or NJ I mean, it's going to be 3 add 4 over 2. And then 6 add 3 over 2, which gives me 7 over 2 and 9 over 2. Okay, so this is a parallelogram. Why?
This is the midpoint source.
The diagonals bisect each other. Okay, so it's definitely a parallelogram. Now we need to show that it's a rhombus. Okay, what is one property of a rhombus that is separate from a parallelogram that we could show? What are our options?
Diagonals are perpendicular.
We could show that the diagonals are perpendicular. What is that going to involve?
Plus
Slopes. What else could we show? Jesse? We could show 4 congruent sides, so that's going to involve finding the lengths of all 4 sides. Could we show that the diagonals bisect the opposite angles? That's a property. Is there a way to show that on a coordinate plane? Not really. So we either going to have to do the slopes of our 2 diagonals, or we're going to have to do the distance formula on all 4 sides. I would prefer to do maybe the slopes of the diagonals. Is that okay? Okay, so let's do the slope of MF. Okay, so I have 3 minus 6 over negative 1 minus 8. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9. Negative 3 over negative 9 is 1/3. Okay, you have to be careful and make sure you're doing the diagonals and not the sides. So then I want to find the slope of nj. Nj, so that's going to be 6 minus 3 over 3 minus 4. So this is 3 over negative 1. Okay, what did this show us? Diagonals are opposite reciprocals, so they are perpendicular. Okay, so we are going to write ourselves a sentence. We're going to say MNFJ is a rhombus because the diagonals bisect each other which makes it a parallelogram. And the diagonals are perpendicular. And that makes it a rhombus. Questions? Based on what we've shown, is it possible that this figure is also a square? Ignoring this. If you didn't have a picture, and I just told you the diagonals are perpendicular and the diagonals bisect each other, would it be possible that this would be a square? Yeah. Yeah. So the next type, well, do we have any questions on this before we go on? Okay, the next type of problem that we're going to do, you are going to have to give the most specific name to the figure. So I think we got 2 more of these. Okay, so this time I'm not telling you what it is. You have to prove to me the type of figure that it is. So start, of course, by graphing it, please. Wait, I'm sorry. Don't graph yet. Okay. I think I had to change this one. So I want to find what I changed it to before me start graphing, because I don't think it's going to work out the way you did it, or the problem that you currently have. In the video for section 3, did I have you change one of the problems?
No.
Oh, I did it? Okay.
What do you like to get, Chuck?
There's one page where I have you change a problem, and I can't remember where I did that.
No, we didn't do it in 3.
No? Okay, maybe it wasn't this problem, so let's just go with it and hopefully it'll work out. Okay, so graph that problem, please. Okay, we all have the same thing? So first question, again, is this a parallelogram? This time I want you to do the distance formula. So if you have it on your calculator, take out your calculator. So we are going to find HE Opposite to HE is LP. We're going to find EL. And opposite of EL is HP. Okay. So if you have the distance formula on your calculator, hit program, which is PRGM, and you should have one that says distance. Hit enter on distance. What does it say?
Just distance, and then you have to
Okay,
press
then hit enter again. Now what does it say?
Now it's actual, like, find the distance line.
Okay, x1 and y1. So we're going to start with point H. So hit -1, enter. Hit 0, enter. Now we're going to go to point E, hit 3, enter. And hit 3, enter again. What did you get?
5.
5. Okay, write that down. Okay, do LP the same way.
Do we have to start over by hitting
Yeah.
program?
What did we get?
5.
5. Okay. You also have to do EL and HP.
I got 6.4.
For LP.
Yeah.
I got 6.4. Did you mix anything?
How many people got 5? Okay, those of you who got 6.4, put something in your calculator wrong. Do EL and HP and tell me what you get, please. Okay, I'm going to venture to guess that HP is 5.
Yeah.
But do you get the process of using this program?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you don't have the distance formula, because I didn't give it to you, maybe this is not the way you choose them.
So we don't need to show our work. We just write the answer.
Correct. Okay, so we know that this figure is a parallelogram. Why? Opposite sides are parallel, congruent. They're the same length. So we're going to say our figure is help. Help is a parallelogram. Because opposite sides are congruent. Okay, we definitely know that it's a parallelogram. We now want to know, is it a square, a rhombus, or a rectangle? Could the figure be a square?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it definitely a square? Have we proven that it's a square?
No.
No. Could it be a rhombus?
Yes.
Is it definitely a rhombus?
No.
Look at your tree.
Maybe.
Out of those properties listed, did we prove any of those 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did we show?
Rhombus.
4 congruent sides. So it's definitely a rhombus. For sure. So we can say help is a rhombus. Because all 4 sides are congruent. So this step actually helped us 2 ways, that first one. Could this be a rectangle?
No.
Why not?
Yes.
Okay, so it is definitely a rhombus, right? And we already said it could be a square. Isn't a square a combination of a rhombus and a rectangle?
Yeah.
So if it's a square, doesn't it have to be a rectangle too? Right? Okay, so it could be, we don't know for sure. So right now we need to figure out, is this a rectangle? If it is a rectangle, it's also a rhombus, and then a rhombus and a rectangle would make it a square. So, what is one important property of a rectangle? What could we show?
4.
We could find that there are 4 right angles, that's true. We also could show the diagonals are congruent. Which one do you think is less work? 4 right angles is going to require what?
The midpoint.
Slope, how many times? How many right angles do we need?
4.
So how many times are we going to have to do slope? 4 times. If we want to show the diagonals are congruent, how many times are we going to have to do the distance formula?
Twice.
Twice. Which one appears to be less work?
Twice.
The diagonals, right? So one diagonal is HL. And then that would make the other diagonal EP. Okay, so right now do the distance formula program on your calculator and find both of those lengths, please.
Should we like square root or the?
I would prefer the square root, please. Can anybody tell me what you guys are getting? Root 50? Did we get the other one also to be root 50?
Yes.
Okay. So, is this a rectangle? Yes. Okay. So we know for sure it's a rhombus because all 4 sides are congruent. We know for sure it's a rectangle because our diagonals are congruent. Therefore, what type of figure is this?
Square.
It's a square. Here's how you're going to write that. We're going to say HELP, help, is a square. Because how many figures did we have to prove before the square part?
3.
We proved 3. Okay, so first we proved that it's a parallelogram. So we showed that the opposite sides are congruent. That showed that it was a parallelogram. What did we show after that? That it was a rhombus. How?
All 4 sides are congruent.
All 4 sides are congruent. So 4 congruent sides tells us that this is a rhombus. And then lastly, what did we show? What? No, diagonals.
Bisect each other.
No.
Oh,
Congruent. Congruent. And that showed us that the figure was a rectangle. So a parallelogram, a rhombus, and a rectangle makes it a square. Does this make sense? This process? Okay, I'm going to leave one example for you to do. So right now what I want you to do is I want you to move your desk with your partner, and I want you to do example number 4. Classify the quadrilateral. Good luck. I would do these same steps again.
proof she's coming up. So okay, we have to prove that's a parallelogram first of all. So I think we should find this.
strawberry pudding.
No, I don't.
All the different copies. Parallelogram.
And now I can just like total so math. But maybe
Now
it's
it's
lazy.
convenient.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask. So what does that mean? What does that prove?
No, just look what she did for these. For example,
Opposite side.
When you are finished, I would like to see your answer. And if it's correct, I will let you start working on the homework.
Is there more than one
Opposite side.
I want the most specific name. So I want you to be able to tell me it's a square because of these reasons. Or it's a rhombus because of these reasons.
Okay.
It's a line.
Just find that out. So wait, then you look at the opposite side.
Let me grab some eraser, Ethan, and then I'll come answer. Jalen, this is not my favorite eraser in the world, but it's like top 10, so.
so like
What property does that mean?
Because
Correct, yep.
So when you write it like
what?
Well, which one of these applies?
Or something.
Wait, what is that? P and F J.
I can't get on this.
I'm J.
Can you find
You're finding the distance right now,
So
the
one of these squares.
solar bulbs.
And then so it's J. And then UP.
It's, yeah, so it's
So 50 on the
yes. So that makes it a rectangle.
What would it be? Square?
Would it be a square?
That's why I was.
Yeah,
So I was like, wait a minute, they seem confused on what this.
You could have an eraser. John.
We could find.
We
We find the whole.
Yeah, you grab it.
And then build it out.
How did you start? You're gonna have to answer parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, square.
It's
always spell that.
Because what?
Opposite sides.
Because
I always spell that.
You didn't show that. Okay, you showed that the opposite side of the finger, right? So it's definitely a parallelogram.
Okay, let's just.
Could it be a rhombus from here?
And then speed.
Diagonals.
Yes. Could it be a rhombus?
Is there like a lot of like those?
Okay, a rhombus.
That's what I mean with multiple choice.
Four congruent sides. If your side's over 45, 45, 45, 45, you get a rhombus. It's definitely not.
How do you not know that?
It's not a rhombus.
Axel is always in there.
You can't do it. Or you have to prove it to me then. You have to show one.
If it's negative, that's positive.
So is there a matching?
And if it says like calories going out, it's excellent.
Okay, so
The matching.
and it's not a rhombus, why?
It's around. It's not a square. It's like say where stuff.
Your homework? No, but as long
And
as
then
you
for the
say.
very back and show your works.
Or at least
Once
show
you
what
go
you're
through
type like. I can see that Ethan looked at the sides and then decided to look at the
And
rhombus.
then.
I never looked at that.
Yeah.
On the graph, it's like part of that's some.
Oh, there might be one of the very first questions.
We already did it. We did all
For some
three.
reason I know. It's
already know this.
What else?
I'm nervous that I knew from school. Well, if you didn't study.
You're not supposed to lie.
Okay, can you tell me why it's not a rhombus?
Or is it opposite angles?
And why is it not a
Both pairs opposite angles.
Okay, can you guys look up here real quick? Did most of you do slope or the distance formula? Distance formula? I think from walking around, it looked like the sides were like root 5, root 5, root 45, root 45.
Yeah.
Okay, that proves to you that the figure is a parallelogram. Why?
Because opposite sides are congruent.
Because the opposite sides are congruent. Okay, I'm just going to write a few things, but this is what you should have had. Root 45, root 45, root 5, root 5. So this shows us that we have a parallelogram. Stop talking because opposite sides are congruent. What else does this tell us? It tells us that this is not a rhombus. Ethan, why is it not a rhombus?
Because all four, the distances are all the same.
Yeah, do you remember how a rhombus has to have 4 congruent sides? Okay, so here, not all sides are congruent, so it's definitely not a rhombus. Okay, if it's not a rhombus, what else does that tell us?
Not a square.
It's not a square. Okay, what is our only option that's left? Rectangle. Did we prove that this is a rectangle?
Not yet.
Not yet. What do we have to do to show that this is a rectangle?
Fine.
The diagonals? What did they end up being? Square root of 50 again? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get root 50 and root 50. Diagonals are congruent, so it's a rectangle. Is that clear enough without me writing all that down? Okay, here's what I ask. I don't need full paragraphs or full sentences, but I need to understand what you did. So if you did this, that is clear enough for me. And then you would have to tell me why it is a rectangle. Does that make sense? Okay. Your homework tonight is pages 18 to 20 in the classwork packet. So you have the next